Hello everybody, it's Faria here, and today in this video I'm going to be sort of doing like a 2-month review, overall review, I guess sort of summer review of the Erevo. As you guys know, for the review video I did it in the winter time and had a bunch of snow around, and today I'm going to sort of go around, tell you guys what I've done with it, and just kind of do some overall driving around, you know, basic summer stuff, because a lot of you guys may not have snow. Some of you may, or some of you might want to see how the car performs on, you know, grass and stuff. So let's get into it. So there it is, the Traxxas Erevo. As you guys can see, I've added some stickers to it, you know, to make it look all nice. You know the vibes. I've only broken really one thing on this thing, other than maybe kind of breaking the fin back here. I've broken these two parts and I had to super glue it, but I've only really broken one main part, and that is this chassis brace. Now this chassis brace, the original one that comes on it, is made out of plastic, just like this one, and a lot of people will replace this part right off the bat because it usually breaks right away, and I kind of knew that was happening, so I'm not too upset. You know, it wasn't really an expensive part. This is like a $6 or $10 part if you get it at, you know, your hobby store. But this one has been really good because this is an aluminum one and it doesn't flex, it doesn't bend, and it's honestly a good investment. So if you do buy an Erevo, do keep the stock one. Don't replace it immediately, because if you replace it, you know, and something happens, you know, you have to put the old one on, but you probably will just have to buy another one. Basically what I'm saying is just keep the original one on until it breaks, because if it isn't broke, don't fix it. You know how it is. The other thing I have to say is that some of these screws, the ones on the A-arms here connect to the pillow balls, especially these ones, they tend to back out a little bit. So if you're going to want to maintain this thing, you're probably going to want to check all the screws, make sure they're not backing themselves out. Happens with all RCs, you know, but you just have to do it with this one too. The other thing is that this car does take a lot of work to maintain, especially when it gets water on it. So one of the things that I noticed is that I'm starting to get rusted screws, which isn't good. I actually just cleaned it today, which is weird. You know, you could just go over it with lemon juice, then dry it, and then, you know, get rid of the rust each time and make sure that it doesn't grow. But, you know, it's not too bad because you can replace all the parts that get it. You can replace the bearings, you can replace the screws, you can replace pretty much everything on this thing. So it's not too bad. It's not rusting main components like the shocks. It's not rusting anything in the servos. It's not rusting anything in the ESC or on the motor. So that's pretty much fine. The other thing about this car is I have these two Traxxas 2-cell LiPo batteries, the 7600. I've had these since day one and they run fine. They run completely good. I have not had any problems with them at all. The remote, you know, with its response, it's pretty good. I don't typically get any upgrades to the remotes. I just kind of keep them stock. Maybe I'll get the Traxxas Link app, I don't know, but you know, it's stayed good. You know, it's a good remote. One of the things that I have to suggest not doing is this thing does have self-ride, but I don't really recommend using that because you can actually wreck the diffs, like the differentials in the front and the back, because it's going back and forth really quickly and you can strip them out and you can break them relatively easily. I've only used self-ride like one successful time and it worked fine. So if you don't care about breaking it and you just kind of want to not go over and you're just lazy, you know, you could just hit the self-ride and do that. Usually it works a lot better on 3S. On 2S it's not too bad, but you're going to get a lot more power with 3S. But I have to say something, that this car has offered tons and tons of fun. Come on, there we go. This thing has offered me tons of fun. The tires, I love these tires. They haven't been wearing out really easily because I have a Traxxas Rustler, and the stock tires, I mean, I just got the car back in, I would say like October, and I've only driven it a number of times, and throughout the winter time I didn't drive it that much because I was driving this thing. But I took it out a couple of months ago, well, I think last month actually. I took it out last month, and probably for each week I started driving it around, and the tires are starting to go bald. They have a weird tread design where they're kind of the sticker pattern, or what, not sticker pattern, the sort of like pointy pattern. They're kind of meant to dig through dirt and kind of get traction there. The front tires are not too bad, but those ones are starting to go bald, and these ones are not going bald. They may have a little bit of scratch, but I've been driving the crap out of this thing. On these two 2S batteries, this thing will get about 45 to 50 minutes of power, or of battery life, which is really good. Now, if you're worried about the engine getting hot and stuff, you know, you can level down and you can get 5,000 ones if you worry about your engine overheating. But if you don't, and you know, you just kind of manage your power and you don't go crazy with it, it should be fine. Other than that though, this thing's a ton of fun. I've only had to replace that one part, and that's pretty much it. The car has stayed stock. It has not had really any issues that are kind of like, you know, life-changing or changing my opinion on how I view the car. I think this RC is a really fun car. Like, I've honestly had the most fun with this out of the 4 RCs that I've had. So we're going to take this thing out, and I will see you guys in a bit. Oh yeah, also, I've scraped the roll cage a bit, and I've hit the front bumper a ton of times trying to do backflips and front flips. It doesn't do it too well with 2S batteries, but you know, I have tried, and it's landed on the nose, it's landed on the roof, it's landed on one tire, and this thing has just stayed strong. It is such a strong RC. If I would have done that with my Rustler, it would have broken a caster block, and I know that because I broke both of them on the exact same day. It's actually crazy. But anyway, see you in a bit. Okay, so we're on location, kind of. Originally I was going to go to Little Mountain Sportsplex, but they closed it down. I don't know if that's because of the new rules of COVID or if they're doing maintenance on it. There seem to be a couple of trucks, but it kind of sucks because there's a lot of sand there, and there was, you know, not the main diamonds. It's mostly just kind of like around the area. They got a lot of gravel and stuff. But anyways, I got a location, so we'll get to some driving. All right, I'm just gonna grab a nice thumbnail picture and a nice picture for Instagram, which is Isaac the Boss 2241 if you're interested. And yeah, let's get to riding. All right, let's go. Ooh, this thing's got a lot of power. Oh man, gotta keep up with it. The one thing I will say about the Erevo is there's a lot of control. Like, you saw that. You saw that kind of drift there. It drifts really nice too, but it just really goes in the direction where you want it to go. And if it's getting a little too squirrely, you know, you can turn on the TSM, the automatic steering, or you can just kind of, you know, drift around if you want. But anyways, this thing, I believe in stock gear on 2S LiPos will go about 40 or 30 kilometers or something like that. And on 3S, I think it'll go 45 to 50, I think. On the different gearing, I think this thing could go up to 70. Just so you know, this is one of Traxxas's fastest stock vehicles. Woo-hoo-hoo. It looks so cool when it does that, especially with the sun. Man. Traxxas, if you're watching, sponsor me. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to. I'm just having fun with one of your products, along with the millions of other people that probably enjoy these things. The thing that's really nice about it is that you can also adjust your suspension. You can actually adjust how far it travels, and you can also adjust the, I guess, suspension arms, which is really nice. Woo! That was a nice shot, wasn't it? Yeah, it's just got so much control. It's just got so much, especially with four-wheel drive, right? Like, four-wheel drive, it'll pretty much get you through anything, as long as the tires are big enough and your ride height is very high. The thing that's very interesting about this is that I originally was not going to get an Erevo. I was originally going to get a Rustler 4x4 because it took a lot less work. It was smaller, so it was easier to work on, and it had four-wheel drive, just like the Erevo, and it offered everything the Erevo does, but it's just smaller. But I have to say, I have never had so much fun with an RC than the Erevo. The Erevo by far is my favorite. not only that, the tires and stuff, it has a lot of, it has a thick oil in the diffs. So whenever it's going over harder terrain, it can actually raise the suspension arms and it can hold its throttle in place. So it doesn't actually, I guess sort of bog out, is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't bog out that easily. Each wheel maintains the same amount of power, or at least it tries to. It's also very nice going harder speeds, especially over tougher terrain. And just to show that, I'm going to go over to the train tracks and we're going to drive this thing over the train tracks, because I feel very confident about this thing. I think this thing could do it. And actually, before we do that, let's actually go over some of this stuff. This is just some sort of gravel patches, you know, leftover gravel, just sort of dumped over, you know, no one really gives about it. So we'll drive it over here. I'll get a better shot of this one. Woohoo! Even did a wheelie for us. Wow, do you see that cloud? Damn, that was awesome. Hold on, we'll get a better shot of this. Woo! Woo-wee! It looks so cool. It looks like a full-size car. Ooh. The other thing that you're noticing, it doesn't flip as much. Oh, hold on, we got a lot of rocks in the tires. Whew. Yeah, it doesn't flip over that much. And I think that's because the suspension is relatively plush, especially for like the first few bits of travel, because, well, also the tires too. The tires, they are huge tires. They're very nice and plush, so whenever you're driving over tougher terrain or maybe even smaller stuff, it absorbs it in the tires, but also in the suspension. But the springs are also very nice because it can raise its arm up and it can get over tougher stuff like this. So I'm not too sure if it will get over the second one, but we'll try it. Hold on. Oh, come on, you can do it. Oh, haha, there we go. And now it's probably stuck. I don't know. Oh, wow, look at that. See, whatever obstacle you want the Erevo to get over, it can do. If I had my Rustler, oh my god, just the camera here. If I had a Rustler, 4-wheel drive or 2-wheel drive, I have a 2-wheel drive, but if I was to have a Rustler 4x4, I couldn't get over stuff like this. I really couldn't. And I know that for a fact, because I've driven my Rustler, it gets stuck in some of the simplest things. It could even get stuck in these rocks. Like, these are big rocks, but, you know, honestly, it makes it a lot less fun when you're always having to kind of pick it up and do it. And actually, I'm going to carry this over. But it can be really annoying when you're always having to just bring your RC back to a spot where it can drive. With the Erevo, you're not having to do it as much. Like, the toughest thing you'll have is probably getting over like a wall, because it can do everything that you throw at it. Oh, almost lost in the bushes. Other thing, watch this. Look at it. You can get through tough grass. Tall grass, too. My Rustler can't do that. And I might even do a video on the Rustler reviewing that, too. I've had that for a lot longer than the Erevo. Oh. Yeah, one of the things you gotta watch out for is it really throws rocks around when you're driving this thing around. Ah! It also could do, oh gosh, scratch my nose. It also could do reverse donuts, which is pretty cool. It's also got tons. The other thing about it is that it has tons of torque, so it can keep up with its top speed relatively well. So actually, I'm going to try to get into a better spot. You can get it to wheelie pretty well on 2S. It won't do like backflip necessarily, but it can pop the front end up. Well, that one wasn't too good. Let's see here. Let's go over here. This might be better. You can get it into a wheelie pretty well. I don't know if I'm going to get a wheelie bar for this thing. I don't think it needs it. I think it's just kind of an extra bit of plastic, at least for me. Oh, there we go. So you can do wheelies. You can do some tricks with it. You can also get it on 2 wheels, but I don't think I can because it's a lot of gravel and it's really loose. Man, and I have to say, it has really good forward bite. It also has really good side bite. Like, whenever you're sliding around, it doesn't want to, you know, spin out or necessarily, like, it can drift, right? Like, it drifts really well, but it doesn't want to do it, like, as easily. You know, it kind of wants to stay just going straight and kind of wants to just, oh, what the heck? Oh man, my steering's a little messed up here. Hold on. That was weird. Okay, yeah, it seems to be working a little bit better. All right, back to the driving. So this thing, it really just wants to go in the direction that you put it in. If you want it to drift, you can do it. Like, you can give it extra power to kick the back end loose. And the thing that's good about it is that since it has such good forward bite and it also has 4-wheel drive, it makes it more controllable. It drifts around way better than my Rustler does. Like, it can catch. It can catch it when you want to go. It doesn't spin out. You know, it's just an all-around good RC. I'll do it right here. So I'm going to steer left, so that left, and then I'll steer back right, and then I'll go back left again. Kind of like that. Now, that's what you can do with the Erevo. You can do it with the Rustler too, but you just got to get more speed. And you got to keep that speed because the rear tires will catch and they will go on you. With these, it wants to go in one direction. It doesn't want to drift or hold drifts. It can, like, you can get softer tires or whatever, and you can get some pretty decent ones. You know, it's just fun. Like, that was a good one. That was fun. Woo! But yeah, what was I talking about? Drifting? Yeah, so when it's drifting, you can get it to drift relatively easy, even for a beginner. Now, I wouldn't recommend this for a beginner because it's got a lot of power, and of course, yeah, you can make it run on 2 nickel metal hydride batteries, which might be good, but I would probably suggest getting lipos. You're gonna have more fun with it. You're gonna have more power. You're gonna have just better acceleration, and you're just gonna have more fun with it. Anyways, back to the Erevo. I'd recommend this to someone who's intermediate or at least knows what they're doing before they get it. So they've tried like a 2-wheel drive for the longest time because that's what I've been driving. I've driven 2-wheel drives before, so you know that it's like I drive my Rustler. My Rustler's the newer and I would say better 2-wheel drive RC. My first one was a Duratrax Evader, but driving the Rustler, you wanted to it wanted to get into a drift, but then immediately spin out. With the Erevo, it doesn't do that. It really just wants to hold it. Now, most of that comes from the 4-wheel drive, as I said, but the other thing also comes from skill. Anything that you can throw at it, it will do. Tires are perfect. They look really cool on it too, but it just makes it a lot more fun, you know? Drifting the back end around is fun and all. Driving it on the track, you know, you can have fun. If you're not racing competitively, you're gonna have a good time with the Erevo. Woo! Man, that's why I love the Erevo, man. It's so much fun. It's just all around a good RC. Now, there may be better, but I have to say that any 1/8 scale RC like this, you're going to have a great time with it because they're big, they are quite beautiful. Like, that color is super nice. I think that's really awesome. And not only that, it can take anything you can throw at it, at least with the Erevo. The Arma Creighton can do it too. I'm pretty sure the Max can do it as well, the Traxxas Max. Even the X Max, but I think the X Max is 1/5 maybe. But anyways, overall, just a good RC. And don't take my word for it. Ask the hundreds and hundreds of people that have purchased Traxxas Erevos. And yeah, they have, some of their RCs may have problems, but since when does any RC not have problems? Like, really, don't go with what the media wants, go with what you want. And you don't have to take my word for it, because really this RC, it's not about which one is better in my mind, because I think out of all of the RCs of this style and of this size, you're gonna get not the exact same amount of fun, but a very similar amount of fun. You're gonna have a grand old time with this thing. I've had this Erevo for only a couple of months, and I could say without a doubt that this is my favorite RC. All right, guys, I'm gonna end the video here with a conclusion. I think that the Traxxas Erevo 2.0 is my favorite RC. Out of the ones that I have, this is my favorite one. Now, a lot of you guys may be thinking like, well, are you for real? Why didn't you get an Arrma Kraton? And I did consider it. And like I said in the video, originally I was going to get a Traxxas Rustler, but the Erevo offered so much more, and it was probably almost triple the size of it. Now, you say, why didn't I get a Kraton? Like all things, it depends. With the Traxxas Erevo, I personally really like the color scheme. I love the way the body works. I love how Traxxas has offered, so much stuff for that RC. Look at it there, sitting all nice. But honestly, if you guys are considering either one, or what other ones you may be comparing it to, like all things for me, I decided to get this one because it suited my needs of what I wanted. If you guys are considering getting a Kraton, or if you're thinking about getting like Kraton 4S, 6S, or any other vehicle of that matter that's in the 1/8 category that the Erevo's in, honestly, go with what you like. Honestly, I don't care about brands too much. Now, I do think Traxxas is good for starters because they've been making RC cars for a very long time. But honestly, go with what you like. It doesn't matter really what you get, because as long as you have fun, you're going to enjoy it. Anyways, this is Erevo. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.